Hey guys, this is an introductory video to the basics of the Team Fortress 2 trading economy. Now you're probably watching this because there's an item out there that you want. The economy probably seems kinda scary, and actually that's because it is. I can confidently say this having been a senior admin on a high-profile trading server for about the past year and a half. In this video I'm gonna cover item quality, lingo, etiquette, basic pricing, websites, and warnings. I'm going to start with identifying item quality. This is a hat that I've renamed. Its quality is unique, given the yellow text. It's the most common item quality in the game. Now this is a vintage item. The vintage items were first made back in 2010 with the Mann Co update. Since then there have been two more waves of vintages, once in the Australian Christmas 2010, and once after the Shogun update in April 2011. These later vintages are often called second wave or Shogun vintages. They're significantly rarer and therefore more valuable. Now this is a strange weapon. They will count kills or other actions done with them. They can be modified using strange parts which will add to the number of stats tracked by that weapon. As the main statistic on a strange weapon increases, it will also increase the weapon's rank, changing its name. This is a genuine item. They're most commonly gotten by pre-ordering a game. Here we have an unusual hat. Now these are extremely rare and can only be gotten by either trading other players or by opening a Mann Co supply crate with a key. They have an approximately 1% chance of dropping from those crates. If you somehow are lucky enough to get one, it will feature one of the 26 currently available particle effects at random. There are a couple other less significant qualities. These include Haunted, which is only available during the 2011 Halloween event, Community, which Valve gives out to important community members, Self-Made, which is acquired by getting an item into TF2, and Valve. Valve items are weapons only owned by Valve employees. The most well-known of these is the Valve rocket launcher owned by Robin Walker himself. Traders have their own set of vocabulary used to describe items or actions used for trading. I'm going to go over some of the most prominent and most used ones. Scrap is the short term for scrap metal, the lowest denomination of metal in trading. Rec is short for reclaimed, REC. It's the middle denomination of metal used for trading and is crafted using 3 scrap metal. Ref or refined metal is the largest denomination of metal used for trading and crafting. It is crafted using 3 reclaimed metal. If you don't know what someone's talking about when they say that they're offering in decimals of metal, say they're offering 1.77 refined on a hat, this may confuse you. I'll explain it for you. When someone says 1.77, they're referring to 1 refined, 2 reclaimed, and 1 scrap metal. 1 scrap metal is considered 0.11 of a refined, 1/9. A reclaimed metal is 0.33 of a refined. It's pretty easy to remember and it'll come in use a lot. Almost everybody uses this standard of measurement for metal. When someone is talking about keys, they're talking about Mann Co supply crate keys. These are another very common currency for the market. At the time this video is being made, they're currently worth between 2.33 to 2.66 refined, on average about 2.5. This is subject to change, and knowing the market, they may rise more. In fact, long ago, when the Mann Co update first came out, they were traded 1-to-1 at 1 refined apiece. Seems like a good investment in hindsight. When you hear someone talking about promos, they almost always mean one of 3 items. These items are the Bill's hat, the earbuds, and the Max's severed head. Bill's hat, as shown above, is often referred to just simply as Bill's. It is an all-class hat that was available by pre-ordering the original Left 4 Dead. The earbuds, known more simply as buds to most traders, were given to anyone who played Team Fortress 2 on Mac OS X up until June 11, 2010. Max's severed head is known more commonly simply as Max's. It was received by players who pre-ordered Sam & Max The Devil's Playhouse. The hat of undeniable wealth and respect, or just the Whoar. This hat was awarded to players who completed all 28 objectives during the Great Steam Treasure Hunt of December 2010. Only about 1,000 of these are known to exist. Sharking is a term used to describe when an experienced trader will find an inexperienced trader, someone who doesn't know the value of their item, and will buy it from them for an extremely low price. This is generally considered being a pretty shitty person, so don't do it. Scamming is pretty self-explanatory. Usually what happens is someone will quickly switch out their item for a cheaper one right before the trade is made. If you think this is a good way to make profit, it really isn't. You will be marked by multiple community groups as a scammer. This will make many future trades much more difficult for you. I've personally been targeted by scammers about 2 or 3 times. A couple other terms are BO and CO. BO stands for buyout. CO stands for current offer. These are mostly used at high-level trading where the highest bidder will get the item. There's also quick sell, which is used whenever someone wants to sell an item very quickly, so they will discount their price by 25 to 50%. Lowballing is where you deliberately offer very low for an item, but the seller still knows that it's valuable. You're pretty much just wasting the seller's time when you do this. Duplicates, or just dupes, are items that were cloned using an old glitch with gifting. Duplicated items are less valuable. Spy crabbing is a kind of gambling often found in trade servers. Players will equip the spy's disguise kit and then taunt until one of them does the famous spy crab taunt. The player who happens to receive this is usually knocked out of the competition. If an item is dirty, it means it either can't be crafted or traded without gift wrap. This will always lower the value of the item. Inversely, clean means it can be traded without gift wrap. Scrap banking is when someone will offer you a scrap metal for any of your 2 unwanted weapons. Cancer is really only used in unusual trading. It means a hat is so hard to trade you might as well be stuck with it forever. Now that I've gone over the terminology used by traders, I'll be going over the etiquette. This is the wrong way to communicate in a trade. Never open by asking for the item. What you're going to want to do instead is something kind of like this. Make sure to greet them cordially with a hello or a hey. Use proper grammar and spelling, and do not skimp out on your communication. A couple other things frowned upon are randomly trading someone, asking for an item that they're not selling, or simply canceling the trade. No one likes someone who just cancels without even bargaining. Part 4. Universal Pricing. In this section, I'm only going to be going over the prices that are not likely to change over time. I'll start with weapons. First off, it's very common that if you want a weapon, you'll have to pay 1 scrap metal for it. Yes, this is about twice what it's worth, but it's profit for the person who's selling it. You can find someone who will trade it for one of their weapons, but it's not as common anymore. Many of the least popular hats are sold between 1 refined and 1 refined and 1 reclaimed. The reason why is because they're usually crafted together. This is cheaper than the 3 refined building a hat crafting recipe, so that's why it's really popular. That's really about it for universal prices. Almost everything has been subject to change over time, and I don't want to wrongly predict something. Next, on to websites and price checking. This is going to be a compound section. I'm going to start it off with websites for selling items. TF2TP was the first item trading site for Team Fortress 2. It's venerable and well moderated, but unfortunately it only allows you to bump 1 trade every half hour. This is TF2OP. Unlike TF2TP, you can see other people's offers on a trade. It also doesn't limit you to bumping a single trade every half hour, as you can bump all your trades every 30 minutes. However, they are the most popular site at the moment, which gives rise to a few problems. There are some spam and lowballing problems, as well as an apparent shortage of moderators. It also semi-regularly experiences service outages. This is TF2 Bazaar. It's the newest one to the family of trade websites. It has the most detailed search function, the most detailed trade function, and it automatically bumps your trades, unlike TP and OP, which force you to manually do it once per half hour. The only real downside that I can think of is the fact that it's not popular yet, so you don't get much of a pool when you do a search. However, I believe the site will grow over time and will eventually overtake TP and OP. SourceOP actually predates TF2TP, but is the website for a popular Half-Life 2 deathmatch mod. It's actually the only forum of these websites and is one of the homes of cash trades. Mostly high-end items are traded here. Up next is the TF2 trading community of Reddit.com. They do PSAs, price checks, and occasionally a safe monetary trade. Overall, it's pretty safe and has good post variety. The downsides are that it's pretty small at just over 8,000 subscribers. The search function isn't all that great for trading either. It's pretty hard to find a buyer or a seller for the items that you're trading. TF2 Warehouse is different from the previous sites. Trading items to the bots owned by this website will reward you with credits on the website. Credits can be redeemed for other items. The bots will trade you again, you'll receive the item, and it'll subtract the credits from your account. This website is run entirely for profit though. Every single item that the website receives will give a very small amount of profit to the site. With their thousands of users, it stacks fast. Dispenser.tf is brand new and only launched a couple of days before this video. It works similarly to Warehouse, but without profit margin. Bots take your item and will resell it for the amount you asked for. They will then return the paid items to you. Backpack websites where you can view player inventories really don't differ that much. The only real differences I can think of is that TF2B allows you to look at their Portal 2 and Dota 2 backpacks, while Backpack.tf has a built-in price estimate feature. I'll link my backpack on all three sites in the description. Now onto the part where I teach you how I do my price checks. Now what I'll do is I will go to the search function on TF2OP and put in the item that I'm either trying to buy or sell. Next I'll go through all the trades that I find and make an average of the prices that I see. You'll see most people selling it for about the same price. This is a very accurate and quick method of a price check. Steamrep is a site used to keep track of all known item scammers. I included this in this section and not section 5 because it's much more pertinent here. If someone ever randomly adds you on Steam and says they will give you $300 for your hat, that should raise a red flag pretty quickly. Check their Steam profile on this website, see what's up with them. A common mistake new traders often fall for is to go directly to a trading spreadsheet for a price check. The problem comes along when a new trader goes to a spreadsheet, gets the price of their item, and then tries to sell it. What will often end up happening is a buyer with more experience will come up and go, wait, that's not quite the right price. But then the seller, the inexperienced one, will say, no, the spreadsheet said this, so therefore it's true. Spreadsheets are good for an estimate, they're not a statistic, they're not gospel, stop worshipping them. I've seen too many people fall victim to this. Just for some context, I'm going to overlay a little bit of personal experience that happened to me only last weekend. I had bought a vintage Fan-O-War for 2.33 buds. When I went to go talk to people about how I got a little bit of a good deal on that, some of them went, oh no, you overpaid. The spreadsheet says 1.5 to 2 buds. Anyone that had gone on TF2OP that day and gone and checked prices would have seen nobody selling it for any less than 2.66. Just always remember that using a spreadsheet does not automatically give you some insider knowledge that beats the experience of a longtime trader. Just for safety, the inverse is also not true. A longtime trader will not always give you an accurate price. Like I said, some of them are sharks or scammers, which I'm about to have to cover again. I have to say this again, sharking is really common towards amateur traders. If someone is being really aggressive trying to make you make a trade, get a price check, get an informed decision. Don't ever make a trade on a whim. This last tip is more geared to anyone who may ever get into high-end trading. If you ever get into a trade where you're going to take money for an item, always get a trusted middleman. Not one provided by the buyer or the seller, but someone that you can trust, someone from, say, Steamrep, maybe one of the admins there. I've personally been a middleman a couple times. If you feel like it, you can ask me to. This really dragged on a lot longer than I expected. Either way, if you have any questions left, leave them in the comment section. I'll try to answer them whenever I can. This is just a basic guide. There appears to be feedback interested in more advanced videos. I'll follow up with those eventually.